I don't know where it is.
All right, guys, welcome back to Rise and Grind. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you? It's
Good.
a nice rainy Monday, and we actually love rainy Mondays over here.
Listen, I love a good rainy day. You know that. I'm a big rainy day guy. You know, if Mother Nature's gonna water the grass, who am I to be mad about it? You know what I mean? Who am I to be mad about it? But all right, let's dive in. We got a lot of good stuff here, guys. Happy Monday. We're off to a great week ahead here. Meg's gonna kick us off.
All right. Well, the first trend or news alert that we have is about X. They are having some major marketing challenges right now, specifically within their app. Right now, 69% of the users within the app do not want to call the platform X. They are sticking to Twitter.
Everybody, I heard a million, even big people, big people are still calling it Twitter.
Yeah, and
They don't want us to make the switch.
they're having a really hard time switching the brand over. And I mean, I think there could be a few ways they could have done it a little bit more seamlessly. As an example, they didn't make the switch everywhere. So the Twitter logo is still available on a lot of different platforms and integrations where you see Twitter or X. So they didn't switch it over.
I've rarely seen X. Like we were talking about this for website stuff.
Mhm.
Like most of the platforms don't have the X logo yet.
Right.
So we had to make our own. Or we had to grab theirs and then make our own to put it on people's websites.
Exactly. So the brand transition is going a little bit rockier than they expected. And it begs the question of, are they going to be able to stick with X, or are they potentially going to go back to Twitter because it's what's sticking in people's minds right now?
Right.
I feel like they're a little too far into X right now to retreat.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have to just go with it.
I'm very curious. If you're watching right now, if you can comment and say if you call it Twitter or X. I'm really curious to see what people are calling it. I haven't heard one person just viscerally call it X. It's always like Twitter. Oh yeah, X.
Right.
X. So interested to see what people think on that.
Yeah, definitely. And then on that topic, a brand report came out that X had the largest fall in brand loyalty sentiment amongst the 100 brands that it tracks, which are pretty big brands. It fell from number 47 for brand loyalty all the way to 92. So remember, this is out of 100. So it's almost at the end of that list right now.
Wow. I'm not surprised, though. Again, they're making some big moves. And, visionaries like Elon Musk, they move quickly, right?
Right.
And not everybody wants to move that fast. So the fact that they did this quickly and everyone has to just kind of jump in and get acclimated, I'm so not surprised that people are kind of more like, all right, I'm backing up a little bit versus okay, I believe in what Elon's doing. Let's run 100 miles per hour. But on that topic, though, too, one of our mentors at AS was sharing that what he's trying to accomplish right now with X, formerly Twitter, is he's trying to make it into what China already has, which is called WeChat. And so WeChat in China is essentially it's a place where you do everything on. So it's their social media. It's where you accept payments. You can pay people. It's 100% integrated into their country. So they utilize that as their social platforms, as payments, everything, the banking, what Elon wants to do. So when I was talking to, this mentor, they were like, this is what Elon's trying to accomplish here in America. But again, you have to remember, in China, the government rules and runs a lot of stuff. It's very regulated. So in comparison to the US, it's going to be interesting to see how people adapt / don't, all right, what kind of adopters that they're going to have there. Because we had this conversation a couple weeks back, would you trust, Twitter or X or Elon Musk with your money? Some people said no, but then again, he's had PayPal, he started PayPal.
Right.
So he has been a big force in, when it comes to financials digitally. But what he's doing, he's going after what WeChat is doing in China, which is so interesting to see. So if you don't know what that is, I highly recommend you look up WeChat and what it is to China and the different categories that it serves. Because it's a big game. It's a big player out there. And even furthermore, this whole thing, Apple lost I think, over $200 billion because China officially shut down the ability to use an iPhone if you work for the government. So if you are
Oh
a
my
government worker in
gosh.
China, you are no longer allowed to have an iPhone.
Wow.
So overnight, Apple lost their market share in China like that, which is a big deal. I mean, a lot of the government officials picture like their children, they're this or that. They're going to want to be on native platforms with their kids and their family and their friends.
Right.
Just like most people hate when you're in a group chat and somebody has an Android here.
That's true.
It's like, who wants the green text? Nobody wants the green text messages. Get a damn iPhone, people. But the whole point though is at the end of the day, it's like now in China, they were 100%. If you're a government worker, you are not allowed to use the iPhone anymore. So
Interesting.
we're going to see a lot of different things happening, and now China's starting to make some crazy sick phones. Which I got to be honest, 15 came out. I'm so bored of the damn iPhone design. The last 20 iPhones look the same. I remember back
They
then it was
do.
like, oh, it's a different shape. It's this, it's that. I'm sick of the same phone over and over and
It
over again.
doesn't feel different. The new phones.
No, it's the same. It's always just software
Right?
updates. It's
Yeah,
software updates,
it is.
and sometimes it's bigger, but it's primarily you get a different camera, or you get this, you get that, and like okay, cool. But it's like Apple, give us a new blanking freaking iPhone here. Okay, we want something new, we want something different. And I'm old school. Like if it was up to me, if I can have the Apple software on a BlackBerry, I'd go back to the BlackBerry
You've
Classic
been saying this
forever.
for years that
Give
you
me a
are going to
physical-
go back to your BlackBerry.
Give me a physical keyboard. Give me a physical keyboard back. I want a physical keyboard.
I think
back.
you should bring the BlackBerry back.
There's a
Make
company.
it trendy again.
There's a company doing it right now, and it's been out for a while though, and it's Android software, and that's the problem. Can't do Android.
That's true.
That's it.
Or the Sidekick, yeah, that was a blast from the past too.
Blast from the past. I'm gonna jump in here though,
Okay.
and I'm gonna go through. So one of the things right now, again, businesses, brands, if you're out there listening to this right now, or even if you're somebody who like seeing people on this wave, like I know a lot of my friends who have kids and stuff, they're on this whole wave right now where they're like, damn, like there's these YouTube stars making millions, bonkers money, right? Just making some videos. One in particular is Mrs. Rachel. Okay. If you have not heard of this Mrs. Rachel, you better go find out who Mrs. Rachel is. This lady is literally dominating it when it comes to like just babies to all the way up until like, toddlers and kids, like early age kids.
Right.
And like no joke, like my son Johnny, the second Miss Rachel comes on the screen, it's like everything in the world stops and he smiles ear to ear and is like dialed.
Oh, that's sweet.
And it's wild because the thing is like when she first started, she was in an apartment in New York City getting, got laid off because of COVID as a teacher. And in her tiny little living room, like studio apartment, she had one of the green screens behind her, like a cloth one, and was just popping out some videos. And now I think most of her videos have 80 to 100 million views each. And when you think about the ad money on that, what she's doing like
sure.
10 to 20 million a year. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is for people who are out there listening, like, oh, well, I work somewhere, or, I don't own a business, or I'm not this or that, or, whatever. A lot of people have big, passions for certain things. Like I know I have friends who are like super passionate about cigars, super passionate about cars, whatever. It's like, guys, one of the things I want to say, so like that's for the people who aren't in the business lane. But for the people who are in the business lane, what I'm about to tell you this is not optional, right? You should be doing this as a business owner or somebody who's running or managing a brand in 2023, in the last quarter, mind you, of 2023. I'm trying to be so PG-13 here. Almost dropped an F-bomb. Can't do that. But 2023, last quarter, and if you don't have a podcast for your business and you're not creating content on YouTube and things like that, like Reels, Instagram, blah, 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 whatever, TikTok, that's a big issue because that's how people are validating credibility. Now, I want to talk about creating a niche podcast. That word always bugs me when I say that word. Is it niche? Is it niche? How do you say it?
Niche.
Niche, right? Niche. We'll go niche. We'll go Megan's way today. But creating a niche podcast, or / channel, guys, it helps and it's a big deal. It's good content for, your potential audience, right? Or the audience that you're serving. The one thing that I love about it in particular is that when you have a podcast, depending upon what vertical or field that you're in, it's a way for you to you don't have to solicit these people like you would, right? So if you're in sales and you're like, damn, I would love to get in front of this one company, right? Or the CEO of this company, the thing is, all you have to do is reach out and say, hey, I want to share your story. I would love for you to be on my podcast. Now, it puts you in the same room as that person. Now, when you're creating content around that, that looks awesome for you. Like, wow, look at Jane and Joe on that podcast with that CEO, and it gives you a big boost in credibility because now you're in a podcast. Like, how do they know that person, right? It's like pretty cool. But additionally, what it does is now when you have this podcast, outside of you creating good content and being able to put that content with you and that person in it, again, credibility booster for you. Now you are able to build a relationship with that person on your podcast, right? Whereas before, if you're out here cold calling, like, hey, can I speak to this person? I want to get in front of this person and try to sell my product or try to let them know who I am. In that instance, typically you're not getting in front of them because people don't want to be they don't want solicitation typically, right? So it's an easier way to not solicitate and get somebody on a pod, create great content, and then also be able to build a relationship. I mean, it's a win, 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 win everywhere you look. Now, there are a lot of easy ways to create your own podcast, right? So there's a lot of tools out there that you can do it at home. I know a lot of people in the past, in the earlier days of breaking barriers back in the day, I was recording on my iPhone in voice memos, and I would just send it to my media team to edit it up, and then bam. And that was when it was just an audio experience. But there's just so many tools and resources for you guys to do it where it's not as hard as it used to be or as you may think. There's a lot of AI integrations now. So my point though is that there's no reason why you shouldn't create a podcast. If you have a business, if you have a brand, that's not even negotiable. You should have that. If you don't, you are silly. And that's me putting it nicely. Okay. You're silly, Willie. Okay. And that's me putting it nicely. But if you are somebody who's like just, I work a 9 to 5 and this, but I'm super passionate about cars or cigars or this or that, this is the opportunity for you to say, well, let me go do something fun or whatever else and try to get this out there because you just don't know what could happen, right? If you look at the Miss Rachels of the world, if you look at these people who are massive stars on YouTube now that make millions, 10 million, 5 million, whatever, millions of dollars a year by just creating content. Like, look at Mr. Beast. I mean, he's a behemoth, right? This guy is insane. You know Mr. Beast is, right?
Yep.
Insane. But this guy spends close to $40 million a year just now in production, he said.
Isn't that crazy?
And so it's like, all right, so what the heck is this guy making, right? So
more than that.
Right. But he obviously does crazy stuff where he's breaking houses, start building houses, going on crazy things, but different. But the point though is that when he was first starting, I guarantee you that it was probably like, well, let's just see what happens here. Who knows? So my point is you never know. Creating a podcast, whether you are a business or not a business, you just never know who's out there and wants to consume your content. And that's why you got to get in the race, guys. If you're not in it, you ain't gonna hit it. So, and I'm gonna end on that topic with a little Wayne Gretzky quote, which is, "You miss 100% of those shots you do not take." So, if you are a business owner watching this, or you're in sales of some sort, and you don't have a podcast, you are, in Megan's words, a silly Willie.
You heard it here first. It is true, though. I mean, even a podcast or even just creating content in general. I saw an influencer today, and she had a decent following, but it wasn't huge like you would expect on Mr. Beast.
Right.
She put out some content, and in the caption, she shared that because of the content she pushes out, she was able to retire her husband, buy a multi-million-dollar house, take a bunch of different trips, and she's still sustaining her life, right? So you have to take the shot and just create the content.
He's got the sugar mama. Good for him.
All right. Let's go back to X because we have some algorithm changes that are happening, and there's a lot of questions about how do I actually get my content to rank in feeds. Well, X is now favoring replies, video content, and subscription content over just posting on X or resharing some of the posts that are there. So if you are looking for your content to rank higher, don't focus on just posting just to post, but reply to content that is relevant to your industry. And and start pushing out video content relevant to your industry or your niche as well. And if you're going the extra mile, subscription content is always helpful. It's a way for you to be able to not just gain subscribers, but also get their email addresses. Last week we talked about now on X, any subscribers to your page, you can also take their email content and push it elsewhere. So,
which is fire.
Yes.
But you know what the problem is? I just don't think enough, and it's not, I don't think it's small business's fault, but I just don't think most people as a business are utilizing X, formerly Twitter, for their business. You know, I know like most people, they just don't.
No, most people don't.
Yeah. Like most businesses don't either. You know, like Adapting Social, we put content up there, but like, you know,
it's content that's relevant for that specific platform, right?
Yeah.
So you have to, and that's important too, making sure that you're putting out content that's fit for that platform.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move over to Mary from Denver, Colorado.
Yes.
Sent in a question about funding versus self-starting.
Yeah, so every week now, guys, on Monday, if you would like to ask your question, all you have to do is send out an email or DM us, obviously. You can email info@adaptingsocial.com for this, or / just DM us on Adapting Social's Instagram. And so Mary, who's from Denver, Colorado, asked what funding versus self-starting and what we recommend. And so, Mary, I am the person who is definitely typically in a major opposition when it comes to funding. You know, I just know how people operate when you have debt hanging on your head as a new business. Don't get me wrong, as a new business, like you have so much you have to do. Like you have to like get everybody to believe in you. You have to go around and get customers to believe in you. You have to believe in yourself. You have to start, you know, a product or a service, get out there, push it, not make really any money in the beginning. So there's a lot of weight that you're carrying as a new business owner. It's very daunting in the beginning. You know, and so on top of all that, to have the money, so I'm gonna give you two different perspectives. So the one is typically you get the money and then it's like, okay, great. Now I have this, let's just say you get 10 grand, 25 grand as an easy math. Most people get their first funding, they get 10 to 25,000, maybe under 50K, we'll call it. And then they're like, okay, great, I have this huge sum of money now. And in most cases, they've never had that much money, right? Mm-hmm. So now they have this huge sum of money. And so for the first like 2 to 3 weeks, it's like, this is crazy. So we just go spending happy. So we're like, all right, I got to buy this, got to get this computer, got to get that, whatever. You start thinking all these things that like you need to get and that you can get because now you have the money. Then what happens is the first bills start to come in, right? And so, you know, your first payment on that debt starts to come in, and it's okay because you have the money still to pay back the debt. So the debt's paying the debt off, right, in the beginning, typically. And then once you're like a couple months in, that you know, that fund starts going lower and lower and lower. It's typically by 3 to 6 months where people start saying, "Oh, blank." You know, I have only a little left now, or I have like 10 or 15 left now. And like that bill is not going to stop, and I'm not even close to paying this off yet. Mm-hmm. And so then you start grinding and hustling and moving differently. Now you're scared, as opposed to like being excited, passionate, this, that. So I've never believed in it because I don't want to, me personally, I've never ever accepted funding or got a bank loan or a loan from anybody, right? And so the difference that I think too is almost like my belief when it comes to like just getting things given to you in life, right? And I think the difference between people who are taking every dollar they make and keeping it in the business and trying to figure out how to use it versus that getting funding is that now, as an example, let's just say you didn't go that route, Mary, and you are, you know, just every time you get a customer, you're saving that money. And now you go, well, I need a computer and I need all these different things. Now you're only going to get the things you absolutely need, right? Before you had 50 grand because you got funding. So it's like, okay, I'm getting a new computer desk. I'm getting a chair. I'm getting this cool area rug because I need the good vibes in my office. I need this, I need that. If you didn't have the money to do those things, you wouldn't, right? And I think that's the important thing here is that at the end of the day, when you find yourself in a position where you only have limited resources of cash flow versus getting the funding like that, typically you get better with how to spend your money. You get better with how to manage your money, as opposed to just getting this big block of money that you've never had before and trying to figure out how to actually utilize it and manage it properly. Because typically people, the first time they get their big type of funding like that, or any type of funding, it normally doesn't work out the first time. And it's because most people have never had that much money to utilize. And so they typically overspend on things they don't need. And so I'm a big believer, Mary, in self-funding as much as you possibly can and trying that first. You can always try to go to a bank later, at any point in time, right? But I'm a big believer. And what does that mean, though? That means a lot more work, right? Because if you're self-starting, self-funding, prior to me jumping over, fully into Adapting Social, I was at Ruby Tuesdays, right? Back in the day, I was lifeguarding. I was, at Best Buy. I was doing all these different things until I knew that like Adapting Social was able to sustain my lifestyle, right? And was moving in the right direction. So typically you have to have your other jobs, right? So, you get schedules and you make it so that obviously you find yourself in a position where, okay, I'm going to work my 9 to 5, or I'm going to have like 2 to 3 days a week I'm going to work. And then the rest of the days I'm going to be building my company and focusing on the company. And then when it makes enough, then bam, you jump over and you say, see you later to the other jobs. But that is my big belief here when it comes to funding, getting money from a bank versus, going self-starting. Now you could argue and say, well, what about friends and family? And honestly, guys, that's in some cases I've seen it way worse. Because yes, technically you won't, if you can't pay it back, then you can't pay it back to your friends and family. But wow, is that awkward? And also, wow, does that cause some big constraints? And I've seen people take funding from their parents, from their their cousins, their family, their this, their that, to build a business. And then when the business didn't pan out, now every Thanksgiving, every time you see that, it's always going to be there, right? Like it's going to be there, right? When I love the thought process of, and your family, your friends are there to support you, help you drive you forward mentally, and encourage you. So it's a tough thing, right? I think you always have. So I'm going to put it into a nutshell. I think you always have the ability to go get funding, but I think you should always first try, at least for the first year, grinding like there is no way you can get money from a bank or from friends and family. And it makes you a 10x more resourceful person. So that's my take on it. I'm sure there's people who have way different thoughts on that, right? And keeping in mind, this is for starting and building your first business. So Mary, definitely keep us posted on how, what route you take. And we're definitely sending positive vibes your way over there in Denver, Colorado.
All right, awesome. Next up, we have Meta introducing different AI chatbots, but this is sort of similar to that AI tool that you were talking about for sales. How you have a longer conversation. Air AI. Except with Meta, they're introducing chatbots with over 30 different personalities. So this obviously helps, especially for honing in on brand voice, but also just making sure that the chatbot that you're using is speaking to your target consumer in the right manner, right? Because somebody who is an 80-year-old male who is crushing it on Instagram, if they are
80-year-old males killing it,
or even Facebook, they're going to have a completely different kind of dialogue than your 23-year-old female, right? The lingo is completely different. The topics that they want to talk about are different. And the cadence of the conversation is a little bit different. So we'll see. I'm excited to see more and more social platforms adapt to AI.
No pun intended.
Yeah, all puns intended. Adapt to AI, but also adapt to using chatbots with personalities and just making it a little bit more human-like. It seems like algorithms across the board, whether it's social media or SEO, they're all favoring more human-like content.
Totally. And listen, because we all know the difference, right? Like people know now, like what is real versus what is fake and robotic and stuff, and what's stocky. And people don't want to live in that world anymore. They're over it. Like they want to live in a world where things are real and authentic, because they know, like, it's crazy. We grew up in the world of like the internet, like really starting, and having personal computers starting. Shout out to our Windows 95 people out there who were old enough to have that back in the day. And so, but the point though is that like now they're growing up in a world with AI, where it's like like again, like even like Johnny as an example. By the time he's old enough and has the the cognitive being to understand things and like be on a computer and stuff, like is there going to be writing papers in school anymore? Like, because you could just use Chat GPT. I don't know. So it's like, who knows what they're going to grow up into. But ultimately, it's like people want authenticity because they know the opposition. Like, again, like
Right.
going back like 6, 7 years ago, like most of social media for business was like stock photography,
It really
right?
was.
It was all stock photography.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're an attorney, you had the typical, what's called scale, right?
Right.
The weighing scale thing, where it's like, you had all these stock things, and nobody cared. It was just normal, right? Whereas now people don't want to see that. They're like, they know that stock, they don't care about it.
I
So
know.
definitely agree with that.
All right. Our next topic here is your business simplified and competitive enough versus your competitors? And this is a big
Yes,
question that we often ask even our clients coming in as well.
totally. So is your business offer simplified and competitive versus your competitors, right? And this is to the business owners and even the salespeople that are listening to this. Even if you're in HR, right? If you're out there and you're technically everybody in some way, if you're a leader or if you're out there, everybody's selling anyway, right? But the thing is understanding what your offer is and how competitive it is versus the people that you're out there in the market against, right? And I've had so many conversations over the past couple of, well, first off, since I started the company almost 15 years ago, but recently where people are like, I'm putting stuff out there, I'm not getting as much customers. And this is for people who are not even like technically marketing, digitally or any sort of marketing. These are businesses that have been in the business for 10, 20, 30 years off of word of mouth, referral, this, that, whatever. And the thing that people have to understand here is that most people think because how I did business 20 years ago worked for me and built a business with my kids through college and whatever, that it's still going to work the same way. And the unfortunate part is the answer is it's not. We don't live in a world anymore where people have the same loyalty back then to that.
Mhm.
Oh, my cousin's uncle is a painter. I'm going to hire this guy to paint my house. Typically, people are looking for the deals. They go online. They're looking on different websites. They're calling people. They're getting quotes. They're doing their research. They value a good deal over loyalty in
Mhm.
most cases. People are a lot more budget and economical,
Or
conscientious.
responsiveness, right? Like,
Right.
can I get in touch with you really easily or not?
Totally.
Mhm.
So what I want you to think about, if you're watching this and you're in sales, I don't care if you're in real estate, I don't care if you own a business, if you're in HR and you're selling a company, trying to get people to come work at the company, whatever it is that you do, the biggest thing you have to ask yourself is, what is my offer? Because everybody has to have an offer, right? And the businesses that are not succeeding and doing well and they're just plateauing right now are the businesses who either, number one, have the same offer as everybody else, right? Or they're the businesses who don't even have an offer. They're literally just, yeah, here's what I do.
Mhm.
Come get it, right? And in most people, most places, people are not going to come get it because you don't have a crazy or cool offer. So, what I'm going to challenge everybody who's watching this to do is to go look at your competition, right? So, in your local area, and if people are out there saying, "Well, I don't have competition," well, that's not true. So, look at least 5 to 10 people in your area. Go to Google, type in what you do, right? Not your exact business name. You need to type in your competitor's business name and I'm sorry, not your competitors, type in your industry,
Mhm.
right? And just say around me. So again, example, barbershop around me, right? Best barbershops around me. Do those types of searches. See who pops up first in ads, and then also who pops up first organically. So it's underneath the maps, and it's just the website links. So look at those 4 to 5 people that are again, number one, outbeating you on Google. And then secondly, look up on their website and look at some prices, do some research, see what they're charging, see what they're offering, and then look at what they have versus what you have. That is going to make you understand very simply, very easily, what it is that they're doing that you're not doing.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's going to help you be more competitive and then build an offer. Okay. So, as an example, right, I'll give you guys an easy one here. So if you're a plumber, okay, so we have plumber clients and contractor clients at Adapting Social. And so one of the things that we love to do is go on Google and look at certain reviews from their competitors. And if we'll see things like, X plumbing company came in, they were late, they were messy, they didn't clean up after themselves, and the customer service was terrible. The guy was such a jerk and he was so blunt and this and that, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, let's look at what they're charging an hour. So, okay, they're charging $125 an hour, and here's the different packages they offer. They have 24/7 services, whatever, right? So we're going to go back in and we're going to have a better offer, right? So how do you make a better offer? So we're going to say, okay, we're coming in and we are going to come in and guarantee that we're on time, that we're clean, and that we have world-class customer service. So very friendly people, okay, very accommodating. And then lastly, we're going to look at that price, right? Whether we're going to beat it or we're going to be competitive with it. Now we at least have that option, okay? Looking at what's in the market. So if all these pain points that most homeowners are experiencing for plumbers are seeing those examples of people, our businesses that have those negative traits, and you come in and you say, here's what we're guaranteeing. Oh, wait, and it's the same price, or maybe it's a little bit less, then guess what? You're most likely going to get that opportunity to get that customer, right? So that is a thing. Look at your competitors and build out that research so you can have a better offer and you can be competitive, right? So again, for the people who've been in the game for a while, you have to look past what you did in the past. Don't bury your head in the sand and think I did this forever. It's going to work. And for the people out there who are newer getting to business, right, you have to know what your competition is doing and then craft a better offer and a better deal around that.
Definitely. People get so creative with their offers now too. I know we just recently did some competitor research in the HVAC industry, and there are some companies offering throughout the holiday season 55-inch TVs for different installations. So it's an HVAC company, right?
Get yourself
has
a TV,
nothing to do with the TV, but they're saying if you get a new product installed in your home, we'll also give you a new 55-inch TV.
Rob's gonna get that close to Super Bowl.
That's a nice.
Rob's gonna be like, yo, can I get an
think about the
HV
timing.
tune-up?
Think about the timing of that, right? It's football season. Everybody likes bigger TV.
Yep.
It's holiday season. Even if you don't need a TV, you could give that TV away to somebody, and you're getting something installed in your home which you needed regardless, right? So it's just an added incentive.
But picture that. Picture that back then. Like anybody listening to that, like people that are like the Gen Xers, aka our parents, like and up. It's like to think about you just hiring an HVAC person and getting like a TV, or like some people are doing crazy things like that.
You wouldn't expect that back in the day.
Oh, like I just need my HVAC set up.
Exactly. But now consumers are expecting the extra mile. What else are you going to offer me in addition to the service that you just should be providing me, regardless?
Damn. Wow. What are restaurants going to start doing? It's like, come here and we're going to give you a free alcoholic beverage. Plus, we're going to get you a spa day just for eating here. It's like, whoa. It's like, whoa. Like what? But honestly, think about that. Like what's going to keep happening? People are getting smarter with their offers, which is why I wanted to bring that up. And a good point bringing that up on your side, because that's the thing. You have to have really good offers. What's going to make people want to get up out of bed to come to your establishment or buy off your website when they have Amazon where you can buy things in 2 clicks and have it tomorrow, right? Or / it's just that world, right? So you have to be hyper competitive. Like look at that brand. If you don't know this, I'm gonna throw a little golden nugget your way, guys. This is good for accessories mainly. I've seen, I don't know about all the other stuff, but there's this platform called Temu, Temu. So it's competing with Amazon, and you can get the craziest things on there for literally nothing, right? Like this, like as an example, this phone case I have here. I mean, this is an Apple one, so I overpaid by $1 bazillion for the Apple phone case. But the phone cases you see on Amazon for $10, $15, $20 in some cases. I've seen the same exact ones on Temu for $2.99.
Do you have to buy in bulk, or can you get just one? Wow.
You get one. Like I've seen people buy clothes and shirts and all these different cool products on it, literally for 90% less.
That's crazy.
I've actually, funny enough, speaking of Robbie Botch jobs, literally, here we go. I'm on there looking for memory cards for cameras, and memory cards for cameras are always $30, $50, $60, $100.
Yeah.
$10. For cameras are for these storage external hard drives, right? External hard drives are typically a lot of money, right? What is it? Out here, it's like $200, $150 plus. Found it on Temu, $20.
I have a genuine question. So when you see a lower price tag, does it make you stop and question the quality, or are you just like, wow, that's a good deal?
Oh, no, you're getting something that's not going to be the same quality potentially. But then again, on the site they have something like, for instance, one of the external hard drives was a Kodak hard drive.
Wow.
Right. So I was like, okay, it's Kodak.
How can they do that? That's a really, I don't know. I mean, to compete with Amazon in the first place is a bold move, but to do it successfully by beating their prices is
But no,
That's
not
crazy.
beating, murdering.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
We're talking murdering.
That's a
like,
huge difference.
Like Ja Rule Murder Inc.
I know a lot of people buying.
Megan doesn't know who that is.
I do know who Ja Rule
Megan's
is.
like, who is Asante? Who's Ja Rule?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. But what were you saying?
I know a lot of people buying off of Temu right now.
Yeah.
Especially I know a few people getting married and all of their little.
Oh my! What a good idea.
You save so much money.
Wow.
Yeah, on like the silverware and the plates and all of the little knickknacks.
Damn. So my cousin just bought my grandma. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but like there's this like cool bird shelf thing where you plug it on your window.
Oh, I have seen those.
And literally the birds come in and it's clear on your side. So the bird comes in and you see on your window.
I want one of those. You have to let me know how that works out.
Well, apparently my grandma loves it, but apparently from the outside it's like wooden looking, and then it comes in and you see the back half of it because it's clear in the back. It's just glass. But my grandma loves birds, and so but that whole thing, which I got advertised on Instagram for it, and it was like $50, $60. I think Angelica got it for like $5 to $10 on Temu.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
that's a huge difference.
You can get crazy, and then the shoes they have. You know on Amazon how sometimes they'll do the ads for like those crazy looking basketball shoes or like running shoes.
Yeah.
And they're like really futuristic looking. Mm-hmm. So literally like I saw the same exact one. So online on Amazon they're like $50, maybe $40. It's not crazy.
Yeah.
On Temu the same exact shoe is $10.
That's mind blowing.
Amazon, watch out.
You have to pay more for shipping.
So this is the problem.
Yeah.
So this is Temu's only disadvantage. Is that typically it's like old school ordering. It's like 1 to 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
But for 90% savings, I mean.
Yeah, for some things,
I'll wait.
But I have found myself overpaying just for the convenience
Me
of
too.
having it.
I can't lie to you.
Like,
I can't lie to you.
This morning, This morning I pulled up to the office. I realized I was out of coffee, so I went on Amazon and I ordered an espresso coffee that will be there by the time I get home today.
Same day?
Same day,
wow.
Within a few hours, and I definitely overpaid like $6 or $7, which isn't that bad.
But you'll get it, and you don't have to go to the store, even though she's gonna pass 17 stores on the way home.
They don't sell Nespresso pods there.
Stop and Shop don't?
No.
Come on.
No.
Do you really?
No.
Rob, Google that.
If someone can tell me where to buy them outside of it.
Stop and Shop.
Yeah, they don't.
Nespresso. No, we're gonna see. If they do, we're gonna cancel his Amazon order. So it's already there. It's already there. All right, what we got next?
Next up we have the unemployment rate.
All right, update. So right now we are currently still at 3.8% unemployment. And the current number of people who are unemployed in the US are at 6.4 million, roughly. So that has been pretty stable since the last week and a half. It was at 3.7, now it's at 3.8. 6.4 has been the same. And again, we give this information for business owners and people who are looking to hire to understand what's going on in that market for you.
Last week when I was at that event, I was talking to a few people about just the job market in general. And we were talking about the unemployment rate and how right now we're finding a lot of people not wanting to go back into offices and they're instead of having a secure job and just knowing I'm going to go back into an office, they're willing to just quit their jobs and freelance on the side or do contractor work and try to make it on their own because they don't want to work for somebody. So
I've seen people take like pretty big pay cuts to not go back in the office.
Right.
Like I'm not going back to an office. Like, so yeah. And the one thing though, too, that I just recently saw this. So Twitter, X, formerly Twitter, Elon was being interviewed and asked about like how much of, Twitter staff he let go. And he said 80%. And the interviewer was like, so you have only 20% people running Twitter. So you let 80% of the company go. Like how is it still operational? And literally he was like, well, it turns out when you don't want to be like a political, like, sensory machine, and you just want to be a social platform, right? Like you don't need all those people.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of people to have just on.
Yeah, but when you think about it, that's where businesses are going. They're starting to think about, leaning out. A lot of people, a lot of companies, even corporate companies who normally don't give two craps about being lean, are getting lean now. They want to be as lean as possible. And so a lot of the big overhead comes down to the team, right? Are the employees that they have. So that's what you're seeing a lot all over the place. There's actually within the past like 2 months, I've met six to seven people that I can think of that have said to me they've been looking for a job for over 6 months.
I know a lot of people looking for a job too.
And what's wild though is how that flipped real quick. Because remember how we were like, yo, everyone's just jumping left and right, like everybody's getting jobs left and right, and the market shifted. The market shifted, and people are really struggling to find good quality jobs now.
Definitely, especially with the integration of AI. Not that AI is going to take anyone's job, but I keep telling people the way you can stand out is by truly knowing how to use AI for whatever job or industry that you're in, because that's where the world is going. You can either embrace it or you're going to be left in the dust.
Right.
So you might as well learn how to use it to your benefit.
100%. And I do actually just want to give a quick little piece of advice. I heard this the other day. It was from one of my mentors, and I love this. But for people out there who are looking for a job, who are currently unemployed, just a piece of advice that I got from one of my mentors that, not that I'm looking for a job, but like he was talking to us about the job market. But sorry, man, I'm looking for a job.
I was going to say, do we have to talk?
So, but what he was saying though was, he goes, one of his first jobs that he got, it was this crazy like interview process, right? And he was like, it took me 3 months to go through this interview process, right? So met all these people, had to fly out to this one location, was there for a couple of days, left, whatever. And long story short, he winds up getting, notified that like he does not get a job.
It's a lot of time to spend.
So you put 3 months, all this stuff, you don't have a job, right? So he goes, you know what? I could just accept this and be like, okay, this is what I was dealt. They don't like me, I'm just done. Or I can go back and fight for it and understand what I need to do better to get the job. So he went back and called, emailed, was doing everything he could to get that recruiter back on the line, gets the recruiter back on the line and goes, first off, thank you guys so much for your time. Instead of being like, I wasted 3 months, he's like, thank you so much for the time you gave me. I want to know what I could have done to get the job, because I'm willing to do anything to get this job. And the job was set up. So the interview process for this guy was set up initially so that so there was 4 people left in the pool. So there was a 200 to 300 amount of people who applied to it, and were going through the 3-month process. He was down to the 4th person.
Wow. And
so he was talking to his recruiter, and the recruiter told him all 4 people didn't get the job. And he's like, wow. And so here he is fighting. They hire him. And after he gets hired, he finds out that the job and the whole setup was made for the people to fight for the job.
Oh, I love that.
Everybody who got told you didn't get the job, those people just accepted it and walked away. Where he was like, oh, I'm going to fight for it. What could I have done differently? Like, what can I do to get this job? Like, I'll do anything. And he got the job because that's what it was designed to do.
That's amazing.
They wanted a candidate who's willing to fight and get scrappy, right? We live in a world where ain't nobody scrappy anymore.
No.
Nobody's scrappy.
Yeah.
Nobody's scrappy. So that's a piece of advice for anybody who's looking for a job, because right now it's tough to get a good job at the moment. But like, that's the thing that you have to be fighting for, is like, well, get that feedback. So if you get a no, get that feedback, guys. Call the recruiter back. Like, can I just take 5 minutes of your time? What could I have done better? How could I have gotten this? Like, what would have gotten me the job, right? What was it that I don't have? Was it a character trait? Was it this? Was that? Whatever. And the thing is, when you get that feedback and people see you fighting for it, they're like, I want this person, right? And I know back in the day in football, my coach used to say, we want dogs, right? And what that meant was, we want people who are scrappy. They're willing to get in the mud. They're willing to do whatever it takes. They're willing to freaking go run back and forth, do a million things that to do to get to win, right? To do whatever it takes to win. And it actually reminds me of you when, you were applying to come to leadership, right? And Adapting Social.
Yeah. John told me no.
Yeah. I was like, absolutely not. I was like, you're not qualified.
This is a true story.
Yeah. I was like, you're not qualified.
And I said, let's have a conversation about it.
Yeah. Well, no, you sent me a novel. It was like oh my goodness, a Stephen King novel.
Yeah.
Do you know who Stephen King is?
Yeah, I know who Stephen King. Come on.
Rob doesn't.
Really,
do you know
Rob?
Stephen King? No, he doesn't. Look, did he? Can we Google
John,
that?
do you know who Stephen King is?
Yes, I do. He writes novels. But anyway, fight, guys. Fight for good feedback and fight for, you know, the jobs or the careers that you really want, because I think at the end of the day, that's what's going to separate you, right? And the world we live in now, everybody's like, okay, I want to do the job. But the problem with this generation that we're all in together in, right? I'm not saying a specific Gen Z, yeah, whatever, blah, 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 you know, millennials. It's not about that. It's about the fight that you have in you, right? Nobody wants to fight anymore. They just want the job. They want to make $1 million a year. They want to like not go to work. They don't want to work a lot. They want to be lazy, and that's a problem, right? And that's why. And Dana White said this so good. The you know, founder of the UFC and the CEO, he's like, if you are a hustler and a grinder in this generation, you're gonna move miles past everybody, because everybody's so lazy, and there's a lot of entitlement out there right now, unfortunately, right? So if you are that person who's just a grinder and wants to get after it and is willing to fail and willing to fight for your jobs, fight for, you know, the things you want in your life, you're gonna blow past so many people, because it's it's not hard in this world right now. It's not hard.
No, definitely not.
All right, so I think the last one I have was the last question we have. This one we got somebody from LA reaching in here. So we have Talia. So Talia in LA asked us, she said, I've been creating videos on Instagram and TikTok for 3 months now. 3 whole months. Okay. Rob's got milk 3 months old in the fridge. and I'm not growing the way I expected. It feels like a wasted investment of time. How can I turn this around, or should I stop? So Talia from LA, first things first, right? 3 months is nothing, right? And I don't want to like put you down there or make you feel like, you're looking at it completely wrong. Your time is your time. So how you value it, how you see it is going to be up to you. But what I do want to say is that in the world we live in right now, there's 10 million, gazillion, bazillion, bajillion creators out there, right? Making content like you're trying to make. So when you're out there in the game just for 3 months, like it's so early. It's so early, right? So I think the thing is that what you have to look at, number one, is how committed you are to creating this content. One of the best people I think have done so well at this is the guy David Ramsey, who's like the debt-free guy. So his rule was every day, and now, I mean, this guy's older than us. He's like in his like 70s or early 60s. But David Ramsey, if you don't know him and you're looking for financial advice and stuff, that's the guy. He's brilliant. But back in the day, I'm pretty sure like even before like social channels, he had a goal, and he had a goal for himself. And he said, every day I'm going to record for 1 hour, one piece of content every day, no matter what. Doesn't matter. And so he did it every day for 20, 30, 40, however many long years now, right? David Ramsey now is a household name in finance, and he's a billionaire, right? And his channel, his platform has helped him achieve all of that. But he did it for 30, 40, 50 years. But this also goes back to what we were talking about, right? With our current generation. And again, if you're just tuning in, I don't mean Gen Z, Millennial, Gen X, whatever. I'm saying everybody, we're all together right now, right? Like people don't want to put in that long time. People are like, oh, I'm creating content. Like Talia said, I'm creating content for 3 months and I'm not getting what I want. It's like, guys, 3 months is nothing. You know what I mean? Like in the big scheme of things, it's one little pellet of sand in the sand glass. That what's it called? Hourglass. So it's like, but at the end of the day, like, so my direct advice to you here, Talia, is that you need to do this for at least a year to 2 years before you make this assessment. And if you're too zoomed in where you're like, that's way too long for me to assess whether I should continue or not, then maybe this isn't what you should be doing, right? Like with us doing this, like when I started creating content, whether it was breaking barriers or whatever else in like 2014, 2015, whatever it was, like I was creating content because I love talking about business. I love talking about social media and marketing and like things that help entrepreneurs and things that are like, tough conversations. And I would do it for free, and I would do it forever for free. Right. And I think that's the thing when you're out there creating content, guys, like you have to be creating content for things that you would do for free and expect nothing in return other than you putting out good content and loving that you're doing it. Now, is that always going to be easy? Is that always going to be like, you're not going to want to go in the studio some days. You're not going to want to click record some days. But you got to put on your big boy, big girl, whatever pants you're wearing, and you got to just do it. You know what I mean? You got to just do it. So Talia, my advice to you, so just for people tuning in, Talia said, I've been creating videos on IG and TikTok for 3 months now, and I'm not growing in the way I expected. It feels like a waste of time. A wasted investment of time. How can I turn this around, or should I just stop? And again, so do I think you should just stop? No, I'm never going to be the guy to say, just stop doing it, pack up, go home, right? Unless you're somebody who's not really passionate about what you're doing. And I think to answer that question, you'll have a dead answer very quickly if you think that if you answer this question when you watch this, Talia, if you can't zoom out and you can't do this for at least 2 years, right, and then make this assessment, ask that question, then you're not doing the right thing. Then like step back, don't do this, like then try something different. Maybe some different content you want to create. But ultimately, 3 months is way too little to make an assessment. And creating in the world of creating content, in the world of anything, business, creating content, everything outside of relationships, outside of, when you're dating somebody, you should know. Okay, 3 months, too long. If you're questioning it 3 months in, get out of there. All right, run for the hills.
But also, are you creating the right kind of content? I think as you're waiting out over this year to 2 years, if you're still, don't keep doing the same thing month after month and not getting results. Try new things every month, but wait it out that full year to 2 years as your experimental, time frame, and then figure out, is it for you or not for you? But you really have to just pay attention to what is relevant and relatable to your target audience, and how can you create content for your brand, for your audience.
100p. Love that.
All right. That is all we have today. This is a long Monday Trends or Rise and Grind today.
Yeah, we absolutely crushed it. That was an awesome one. So with that said, we have to end with a positive little motivation Monday. Okay. So guys, again, it's Monday. I hope you guys had a great week. Thank you for tuning in. If you know any business owners or brands or solopreneurs, somebody in sales or somebody's in leadership, tag them in this, get them over here. You can subscribe on YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram. We live stream this on X, formerly Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, as well as Facebook. And so you can always tune in and watch this there. And I always end with a little motivation to get us going in the week, right? And I think the one thing I'm going to talk about for us to get us going strong this week is motivation itself. Okay, I don't typically do this, but I'm going to do this right now. Okay, and it's focusing on your own motivation. And I think most people look at what motivates other people. They're reading books about personal development, and they're seeing this person does this to stay motivated. This person does this to stay healthy, and this keeps them motivated. But everybody is their own unique person and organism, right? Our bodies all need different things. I have friends who love grinding all night long and and working and just getting after at nighttime. That's when they're their most creative. I have friends who are early birds, do it smack dab in the freaking middle of the morning, early, and they crush it, right? And the thing is, I also have friends who want to go hiking and that makes them happy, right? Does that make me happy? Absolutely not. Nothing about that sounds fun, right? So the thing is that everybody is so different that you have to figure out what motivates you. And I think the one thing that has really helped me over, the past 13, 14, plus years that I've really been focusing on my own personal development while building, Adapting Social, has been just understanding what my body needs and what I need. And it's not the same thing that what everybody needs, right? So as an example, me meditating now in the morning, working out in the morning, and just having my gratitude list and what I know that I need to do to prime myself for each day. I'm talking Saturdays and Sundays too. Mm-hmm. If I'm not doing that, I'm not staying motivated, right? And the things that motivate me obviously are very different from when I first started. Right now I have a family, things like that. But at the end of the day, what motivates you, you have to figure out. And it shouldn't be some cliche BS where it's I look at quotes on Instagram or do this, whatever. It should be something that really, truly puts a fire in your damn belly. It makes you want to go run, right? And it took me a long time to develop that. But motivation is looked at two ways, right? It can be BS, right? Because if you're not getting the right thing, you're not actually getting motivated, then you're putting vegetable oil in a gas tank. Is the car going anywhere? No, right? And you're this doesn't work. But when you find what motivates you and you put the right stuff in your gas tank, you're running. You know, it's different. It's different. So on this Monday, I hope that you start to think about that, right? And sometimes it's our goals that we set. Like we're in the last quarter. We're in the last quarter of 2023.
Isn't that crazy? I feel like we were just saying it's 2023. What are you doing for your business?
Right.
Now
What's your goals?
the last quarter of 2023. How are you catching up to your goals or surpassing your goals?
Guys, yeah, like it's the end, the last quarter of 2023. And so here's some motivation for you. Whatever the heck you did not do this year that you set forth to do this year, if you did, right? Most people, anybody that's surrounded by me at work, I'm trying to talk about goals. What's your goals? And I have in my closet every morning before I get changed and run through my day, I have my goals listed out on a printed piece of paper, and I look at it every single day, my goals, right? And I actually name them my realities, right? I'm gonna make them happen. But the thing is that most people were in Q4, end of 2023. I keep saying, and most people, I think I forget the crazy statistic, but it was like something like over 90 to 90, like 3 to 4% of people never achieve their goals year over year, or actually in their lifetime. And that's sad.
That is sad.
So talking about motivation, we have a couple months left in this year. The year is not over yet, but we're heading in that direction. So if you don't have goals, I suggest you make some before the end of the year, or start prepping for 2024. If you do have goals and you notice that they just kind of became the little bumper sticker on your car, they're just sat up on the shelf the whole year, dust them off. Okay, let's go. Let's get them ready, because at the end of the day, that's what motivates people is progress. Okay, progress makes people happy. When you set a goal, or if you have things that you want to achieve and you're making progress towards it, that's what makes people happy. That's what makes people motivated. And the best way to eat an elephant, if you have major goals, is one bite at a time. Don't put a huge goal in front of yourself and think like, and maybe that goal is a 5-year. It's gonna take time to build that goal. But at the end of the day, guys, your goals matter. So I hope that you create them. And what actually fuels goals is you being motivated. So I hope you find the source of motivation for you that can help you this week take what you're doing to that next level. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Megan, as always, great having you.
Thank you.
Guys, have a great week ahead, and we'll see you next Monday.